Leafs Nation. The atmosphere in Toronto is heavy, confusing, and full of unanswered questions. First, the mystery surrounding Joseph Woll turned into a soap opera no one saw coming, from personal family matter to long-term injury reserve, and then a sudden return, all within less than 24 hours. Fans were left completely lost, and understandably so. Then came bad news from the trade market for those hoping to see Nick Robertson gain value. The Lukas Reichel trade for a simple fourth-round pick reset the market for young forwards, leaving Robertson's future even more uncertain. And to top it all off, a new name surfaced on the Leafs' radar. Yegor Chinakhov, a strong, fast winger, highly regarded, but one who might not fit Craig Berube's system. Toronto needs a top six forward. But is Chinnikov really that guy? The ice is full of dilemmas. Transparency, trust, and a team trying to find itself amid chaos. Hit the like button and share your thoughts, Leafs Nation, because this space belongs to those who truly live and breathe the blue and white. News 1. All right, Leafs Nation, let's start with the first story, because this whole Joseph Woll situation shook everyone, not just inside the locker room. Since training camp, Woll's absence had been handled quietly, labeled as personal. The team was clear, or so it seemed. The goalie was away due to a family matter, and for weeks, no one questioned it. After all, when it's a personal issue, fans tend to respect that. But as time went on, the silence grew louder, and when Woll's name resurfaced, it was in the worst kind of headline. LDR, long-term injury reserve. And that's when the ice started to crack. Because in the NHL, that status isn't symbolic, it's official. Only players with confirmed injury or illness, diagnosed by team doctors, can be placed there, which means something doesn't add up. Fans felt the club had hidden too much. And what came next, no one saw coming. On Thursday night, no press conference, no explanation, just a cold press release. While on LTIR, this came right after head coach Craig Berube said he hadn't even spoken to the goalie. The fan reaction was immediate. Confusion, disbelief, and of course, concern. Because if Woll truly is dealing with a health issue, the franchise's silence is understandable. But if there was a narrative shift from personal reason to injury, then the fans have every right to feel misled. And to make things even stranger, less than 24 hours later, on Friday, the Leafs announced Woll's return to the roster. What? Long-term injury one day, active the next? What kind of situation is that? So now the question echoing around Toronto is the team really being transparent with its fans? The blue and white faithful aren't naive. They've seen this kind of confusion before. The Leafs management always preaches professionalism and process, but when a key player like Woll vanishes and reappears with no clarity, it shakes the fans' trust. And for this fan base, trust means everything. Woll was supposed to be a cornerstone of the team's future, the young goalie who could finally end Toronto's goaltending curse. And now, the mood is pure uncertainty. The sudden return only fueled speculation. Was the issue physical, mental, or did the team simply manipulate LTIR to buy some cap flexibility? Nothing has been confirmed, but fans feel like they've been left out of the loop. In recent years, the Leafs have been battling not just opponents on the ice, but their own lack of transparency. The Woll case feels like just another chapter in that story. When fans feel deceived, distrust spreads quickly. And at its core, this saga reveals something deeper. How much this organization still struggles with communication, with honesty, with respecting the foundation that supports it, the Leafs Nation. Because here, the truth matters just as much as the wins. And if there's one thing the blue and white heart understands, it's the value of honesty, even when it hurts. News 2. All right, Leafs Nation, time to face the second story, and this one hits right at the heart of the roster. The future of Nick Robertson. The NHL trade market is heating up, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are trying to find a way to ease the pressure that's been building for months. A talented roster, but one lacking balance, with young pieces that still haven't lived up to expectations. And in the middle of it all, the Chicago Blackhawks make an unexpected move. They trade Lukas Reichel, a first-round pick from 2020, for a simple fourth-round pick. The reaction in Toronto was immediate alarm, because if Reichel, a player with similar potential to Robertson, is worth that little, What does that say about the market value of our forward? The picture became clear. The market has cooled, and patience in Toronto is running thin. And what happened next, no one saw coming. Reichel was traded to the Vancouver Canucks. For many, it was a reality check. The player had been inconsistent but still carried some name value, some promise. Yet he was moved for a pick that, in practical terms, barely moves a needle for a franchise. And that's where the inevitable comparison comes in. Nick Robertson. Like Reichel, Robertson is a talent who never managed to secure a full-time spot in the lineup. Injuries, inconsistency, and a lack of trust from the coaching staff. It all piled up. But now, with the Reichel precedent, any hope of getting decent value in a trade has practically vanished. Nick Kypreos and Justin Bourne didn't sugarcoat it. If Toronto wants to move him, they'll have to accept far less than expected. And the tough question is unavoidable. If Reichel, with 4 points in 2 games, only fetched a 4th-round pick, what's Robertson worth now? After barely holding on to a roster spot? Fans felt the blow. Robertson was always seen as the breakout kid, the one who could explode at any moment. But time passed, and that breakout never came. Now he's closer to leaving as an unfulfilled promise than as a valuable asset. The market knows it, and so do the other GMs. For Brad Treliving, the Leafs general manager, Reichel's trade was the worst possible signal. The value bar for inconsistent young players just dropped. And in a league driven by comparisons, Toronto has lost leverage. Meanwhile, in the locker room, pressure is mounting. Robertson was once again a healthy scratch, and that stings. Fans are starting to wonder, does the team still believe in him? Or are they just waiting for any opportunity to move on? This situation reflects something bigger than Robertson himself. It shows how Toronto still struggles to develop its own talent. How many times has Leafs Nation watched promising prospects become trade chips? How many times has the organization preached patience, only to give up too soon? The Robertson case isn't just about one player. It's about a culture that still hasn't learned to balance pressure with development. And the most painful part is that while other teams turn their young players into cornerstones, Toronto seems to turn them into disappointments waiting to happen. If the kid leaves, he'll take more questions than answers with him. And maybe another reminder of how this franchise still fights to find its identity on the ice and coherence off it. News 3. All right, Leafs Nation. Let's get into the third story, because this one hits right at the heart of the fan base. The Toronto Maple Leafs are still looking for a top 6 winger, and the name of the moment is Yegor Chinakhov from the Columbus Blue Jackets. But, as always with this team, nothing is ever simple. The search for offensive balance has become Toronto's top priority. The team creates chances but still lacks that winger who can truly change a game. Someone with speed, size, and finishing instinct. Since the start of the season, Brad Treliving has made it clear he wants to strengthen the top 6. That's when Chinnikov's name surfaced, a talented, fast Russian forward with a shot many describe as lethal. He asked out of Columbus, wants more opportunity, and believes he can be that guy. The problem? He's not the only one being watched, and Toronto may not have the assets to enter the bidding war. Still, the interest reignites a debate. Should the Leafs look outside or trust what they already have? And what came next, no one expected. In Chinnikov's season debut, 26 scouts were in attendance. 26. Among them, Leafs scout Jim Roque. The message is clear. The entire market is watching. Chinnikov is only 23 years old, weighs around 92 kilograms, and fits the kind of physical profile Craig Berube tend to value. Strong presence in the offensive zone. But there's a catch. He's still a work in progress. His defensive play is limited, consistency is an issue, and he's not exactly the heavy forechecking type that Berube usually demands. So here comes the question. If Toronto needs someone ready to produce right now, is Chinnikov really the answer? Or would he just be another project when the team needs an immediate solution? Behind the scenes, things are complicated. Columbus isn't desperate to move him. They want to compete for a playoff spot and would only trade Chinnikov for pieces that can help right now, not future prospects. And that's where things get tight for Toronto. The current roster doesn't offer many tradable options without hurting the team itself. The only realistic trade chip might be Nick Robertson. But would an offer built around Robertson be enough? Probably not. And even if it were, would it make sense? Swapping one inconsistent young player for another with similar issues, just different physical profiles. Feels like trading hope for uncertainty. The fan base is divided, torn between desperation and exhaustion. They've seen this movie before. The team betting on a change of scenery to fix what only time and patience could. The possible arrival of Chinnikov raises a bigger question than the trade itself. What exactly is the Leafs' identity today? In recent years, the team has bounced between wanting to be fast and offensive or physical and balanced. Somewhere along the way, they lost their direction. Chinnikov represents that confusion. He has the talent Toronto always chases, but maybe not the fit Berube needs. And if the plan is to sacrifice yet another young player like Robertson to try to fix the roster, the risk is just repeating the same mistakes again. In the end, the search for a winger is really a search for direction. The team wants to rediscover the attack that once terrified the league, but to do that, it has to stop swapping pieces and start building something with them. Because as every Leafs fan knows, talent has never been a problem in Toronto. What's always been missing is coherence. So let's wrap this up, Leafs Nation, because these three stories side by side reveal far more about the Toronto Maple Leafs than they seem to. Joseph Woll, Nick Robertson, Yegor Chinakhov. 3 different names, 3 situations that all connect at the same point. The team's lack of clarity and direction. Woll represents mystery, mixed communication, and the silence that breeds distrust. Robertson embodies the weight of expectation. The young player labeled as a star in the making, but never given a clear plan to grow. And Chinnikov reflects the eternal search for instant fixes, that impatience that keeps Toronto spinning in circles instead of moving forward. In the end, it all comes back to one dilemma. The Leafs still don't know what they want to be. A team that bets on talent and development, or one that survives on trades and shortcuts. As the ice remains slippery, Leafs Nation watches, torn between hope and fatigue, waiting for things to finally be different. But even when doubt takes over, the blue and white heart never quits. Because being a Leaf means living between ice and fire, between frustration and faith. Being a Leaf means believing, even when the team explains nothing, when trades make no sense, and when the future feels more like a question than an answer. That jersey carries weight, and this fan base never gives up. Drop your thoughts in the comments, Leafs Nation, and leave a like to show that this passion never freezes.